Welcome to another live stream of the TeleDynes YouTube channel. Just going to keep a short one today because I got another gig to run off to. It's going to be like this for the next month or so. I'm looking at the calendar. It's just crazy. But good stuff. Always take a live show. It's always fun to play. And we got got the new video coming very, very soon. I actually just finished recording it the other day. I just have a couple of things I gotta finish up, and then it should be good to go. So, but I've only had like a few hours a day to work on stuff lately. So it's been a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's slowly getting done. Having the new gear and everything really helps things go a lot faster, and I don't have to be it saves time everywhere. How you doing, Gizmodus? I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, having the new gear, using a teleprompter for the scripts is great because I can still improvise if I need to, and I can only I don't have to do multiple takes of it to think if I get it or if I make a mistake or I'll trip over myself because I think I got it wrong and I actually got it right or I did get it wrong or whatever. But yeah, it saves time in the edit process too because I don't have to go, oh, that was a bad take, that was a bad take, and you know sift through sometimes 10 to 20 uh, false starts and hesitations and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's turning out pretty decent. And I don't know how long it's roughly going to be, but there's not much to it because it's just it's a 1/4, it's a 12 bar, 1/4/5, but it's a little bit different than normal 1/4/5s because it doesn't go from not a typical 12 bar. It's pretty much there, but it'll go from the one, it'll walk down to it'll go to the 4, and then up to the 5, and then back to the 1, as opposed to going to the 5 or hanging on the 5 and then going to the 4. And it switches it up a couple times. There's a couple of spots in there where it'll hang on the 1 for 6 bars, go right to the 5, and then back to the 1. That only happens once in the song, but so it has a somewhat unique structure, I would say. And the solo, there's not much going on there. What is interesting about a lot of that stuff is I do mention it a little bit in the video is uh, the tug of war that goes on with a lot of this older music from the 50s, where one person is playing straight eighths and somebody else is playing swing, and it's interesting to hear that this song, the overall feel of it is straight eighths, but the guitar sometimes it's swinging, sometimes it's playing straight. It just depends on. You can hear it in songs like Jailhouse Rock, where it's really obvious as Chuck Berry stuff. Uh, like Johnny Be Good is just to mention that one because everybody knows it. The drums are swinging, shuffle, swing beat, but the guitar is, you know, playing straight, not right. So having that nobody really does that anymore. Nobody really duplicates it. Um, and of course, that early Elvis stuff, there was no drums. There were no drums anyway. It was just upright bass clicking, and it's not listening to it. It's not quite. It's not rigid. It's not 100% straight, but it's not completely swing either. It's somewhere in between. And it kind of fluctuates back and forth, and it's interesting. It's definitely a feel thing. So anyway, yeah, I was just kind of messing around with finishing up finishing up some of the backing tracks for it today, and then got to finish the mix for it. The edit's pretty much done. I just got to pop the little segments of me playing the solo with the tablature and stuff. I got to pop that in place, and then do the final mix, and should be done. Yeah, kind of a hybrid thing, I guess. It's weird. It's weird. Like, obviously modern rockabilly bands, um, or swing bands or whatever, they don't really do that. Um, but it's just something that was a product of the time, I guess. Hmm. Although they did duplicate that feel in Back to the Future, where the drummer is playing swing and the guitar is straight. Anyway, so what I so yeah, I'm off to a duo gig, kind of like we kind of are doing stuff like the early Elvis sound without the acoustic guitar. So it would it's just the electric guitar playing some rhythm, and then I'll jump back and forth and play solos and sing it a little bit, and then the slap bass and stuff. So it's fun. And we do a couple of the jazz standards that I talked about last week, and so this is one of the songs that I've been um, having fun with creating a solo for was um, is putting on the Ritz, and I kind of do it. We kind of do it as almost a double time swing, but it's just an instrumental. So I have and coming up with because it's so fast. I wanted to write a solo for it that I could commit to memory and always execute it roughly the same. When it's that fast, it's hard to do it 100%, but pretty close. And then I'm always changing it and coming up with new ideas. So, and with this kind of a song, there isn't. I'm trying to think how to there isn't a lot of chords to it. It's pretty much F minor for the verses, and then goes to the five, and that's the verse. When it goes to the bridge, it's a little bit different. When I do a solo over the bridge, it's and that's the bridge. But it's just your standard 2-5-1 of the next chord of the next of the four, and when you're soloing over something like that, you pretty much can just play you know whatever the root chord is that you're basing all those other chords off of. In this case, A flat. I just play this little run, just a bebop scale, and it's an A6, so it's A flat six, so it's major. So you can keep it in the major. But there's a couple of little tricky chords in there. There's a C flat nine, so you can kind of play off of that. And that CF that in this key in F minor, which is A flat, you have this the D is flat, or it's the four. But when in F minor, the six is a D. So you can play an F6, F minor 6, and have that D in there, especially if you're over the F, right? But then when it goes to the 5, you can play the D because it's C9, A flat 9. They put a C flat 9 because instead of just a C9, because technically that would be correct. In F minor, you would be playing a flat 9 for the 5 if it's dominant anyway. Because you could do minor, I suppose. But usually the dominant chords, even in a minor key, most songs will just play the triad with the flat 7. But this one adds that flat 9 because it's in the scale. But when you're playing over the F, you can play that D. You can play both the D flat or the D. Because either one can imply the key that you're in. But so I do this little thing. I always like that sound. So if I can find a song and get an excuse to do that, I'll do it. And keep going down. And D flat, C. Back to the F. So right there, all that stuff is all over F minor. So the one nice thing about having a chord that's just the same chord over and over again, you can just think about the scale, the F minor scale for the most part. And then you switch to the 5, and I'm going down here, third to the 9, or keep it going. We'll do that minor third to the F because we're back over the F again. So I just go to the third, flat third, 9, root, chromatic down, passing tone to the flat 7, come right back to the F, and then it goes into the bridge. And for there, I just kind of play off of the chords. So it's a B flat minor, so as it does. Goes to an E flat, so then I just run a little, just like I talked about in that Rockabilly Riffs video where I go, I just do that same major scale, 1, 3, 5 of the E flat. Clear as mud, right? And then run down the A flat scale, and then you're back on the 1, the F minor again, and then I do a little toast on whatever this melody is. You hear it all the time. And then to walk back up to the chromatically. I stay on that because we're still over the 5 right now for like a measure. And I'm walking back up. We're coming back to the 4 again. Back to the 1 again. So then I can add the D flat and the D, and it works within the key, and it just chromatically walks right up to the F from the 5 right up to the F. So another trick is like if you want to add in a bunch of notes, you can hear like the rhythm of it, but you want every note to be different. You want to walk up or whatever. You can think diatonically within the scale or chromatically. And the best way to do that is to figure out where you want to end, the beat you want to end on, and then work your way backwards to where you want to start. And then play it forward. And that's same way you would write something for a a horn section. If you hear like a horn section will like do a build up and a crescendo, and they'll walk up the scale. You could go chromatically, you could go, like I said, diatonically, whatever. And whatever chord they're going to hit on, you voice that chord, and then you count backwards from the beat you want that crescendo to start on, write that chord, whatever chord that is, if it's a different chord, and then just fill in the scale in between or chromatically in between, depending on the sound that you're going for. And the best way to do it is, and if you're going chromatically, it doesn't really it doesn't really matter too much. Um, you can just go. You can even start. It doesn't even have to necessarily start on a voiced chord. It can, because it's so quick. You're not hanging on it. So you can actually just whatever the chord you've ended on. So if it ends on a 1 and you started on a 5, that does the what you started on doesn't really matter, because what you want to end on is the voicing of the F minor. So then you just take every single note and you just chromatically walk it back down to the beat you wanted to start on, and then the chord that technically it's not going to really be a chord. It's just going to be well, it will be, but it'll be chromatically all the way down. It'll be whatever it is. So it may not be diatonically within the scale, but it's going so fast that by the time you get to the F minor, that'll be implied. You'll just hear it, and that's the way you do that. You hear those little dips all the time with horns. You can get it with the Bigsby, sort of stuff like that. The same with the horn section too. Or any instrumentation. You just write the chromatic notes backwards, and then just come right back up. Um, and that works. Let's see what else. So building that solo. Really check in for a moment. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be doing this again, of course, every week. Right now, I have the calendar up. I did update the calendar for the streaming days. I might change next week's to Friday instead of Saturday, only because I'll have the video done, and I plan on releasing it the Friday, and then maybe do a live stream right after that video, or just keep it on Saturday, whichever. But if because I have a gig both days, so it doesn't really matter. So it'll be short, no matter what. But yeah, today will be fun. Tomorrow we just have a private event, private party, but those are always fun, relaxed, and you get to just play what they want to hear and what you want to play, and it's usually pretty relaxed. And then next week, I have next week. I've got quite a bit. I've got one of our favorite bars to play in Providence called Nick and Ease. And then Saturday, where are we playing Saturday? Oh, and we're playing another private event down in Matunic, just like the southern tip of Rhode Island. And then we're doing a place called the Newport Vineyards on the Sunday, like an earlier thing, 1 to 4. Hobnob with the rich and famous. Sorta. Some of them are, they got money, that's for sure. But no, just regular people. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The all of those gigs are great. And then I think a few weeks later we have a place called Narragansett Cafe in Jamestown, Rhode Island, not Virginia. But it's just a little island in the middle of the bay from the mainland of Rhode Island, and then you have Newport, and in between there is another island called Jamestown. And there's a lot of cool old like historic districts and that sort of thing. And they got a pretty decent strip of restaurants and venues and that sort of thing. That's always a fun place to play. Decent sized room. A lot of places up here I was compared to playing when I played down south is that a lot of the venues up here are really small. They're very tiny. So you have your like this playing against the the cymbal, the drums are like right there, and you can just move the neck of the guitar and tap the drummer's cymbal. So you try your best to move around, and if those places get packed, which they do sometimes, and it's you can barely move. You just have to plant yourself and find the right spot and just play like this. Um, especially down in Newport, that's there's a lot of places like that, old buildings, and they've remodeled them to a certain degree, but you can only do so much with those old that old stuff, which is like some 300 some odd years old. Yeah. Sometimes that's usually the yeah, it was the door going out at this place we played called Parasolato. It was the door um going outside to the patio, and the people would just back and forth and back and forth. And one time of the year we'd go and play in front of the fireplace in the summertime when they fire going, and then in the winter they would close the door and we'd play on the other side. But and I was playing upright bass at the time, but you would people would still have go in and out that way, so you'd always be moving around and trying to get you know with the bass you'd have to move it this way, move it that way, twist it this way because you're just and no drums. It was just a two guitars and upright bass, but with um with drums you just bring a really small kit, one tiny um the tiniest thing you can fit in there, really. That's all you need. And a lot of times you have the drummers, they have to play either with brushes or the what do they call them? Hot rods or cool rods or blast sticks or something, like the bundles of sticks that keep the volume down a little bit. Um, and they do make Zildjian now makes these like quiet or silent cymbals or something. I've never tried them out. They're not silent, but they they're fairly quiet compared to like a you know K or something, like a custom K or something. But yeah, so and driving around playing all these gigs, it's fun, but it can be a little exhausting sometimes. But yeah, old buildings, go figure. That's what happens. Providence is a little bit better, but so it's nice to play some of these places where I can spread out a little bit and have some room to move around and not have to worry about banging the neck of my guitar into either a wall or or somebody's head or the drums or something. Um, anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna keep this one real short today because I've got to load all the gear up, get ready to head out. But we'll have the new video very soon. As soon as I have this, I can get some time to mix it. And like I've said last time, get a bunch of um, start pumping out a bunch of videos. But my other jobs have started ramping up a little bit, so it's taken a little bit of the more of my time on that side, pulling me in that direction. So I haven't had as much time as I would like to dedicate to the channel, but I'll just I just do little bits as I can, and I thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and keeping it going. And the bigger the channel gets, the more hopefully it could make, and the more content I can make more often too. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it is just the two of us. Oh, there might be one more person. Probably. I don't know. It's hard to say. Um, this I have the little count viewer, like I can sort of see who's on, but um, I don't think it's 100% accurate because it'll say I know you're on Gizmodus, and then it'll say 0 sometimes. So who knows? But then it'll calculate up later. Anyway, those are always some fun licks to do too. That's another go-to of mine. I think I did that in the Rockabilly Riffs video. That's something you can do too. Just bridge pickup, pick with the fingers. Just gives it a little different sound that you can, again, just change it up a little bit because you're the only guitar player. It can get a little dull, even for yourself, just to play the same kind of things over and over and over again. So. But yeah, that putting on the Ritz is a lot of fun. I always enjoy playing over minor, especially if it swings, like a fast minor swing. It's a little bit different. You think about the scales a little bit differently, and playing that double time. It's not, I guess, not really double time swing, but sometimes it gets close, depending on how fast we play it. Because then I'll play the bridge. Or up here. That's kind of how we end it. Yeah, I can play a little bit. Let's see. Gotta be careful with some of these tunes. Some of these tunes are getting old enough now where you don't have to worry about copyright because they're about to go into they're going into the public domain. Like this one. been a while since I played that. Trying to remembering it as I'm playing it. Like, oh yeah, forgot about that little bit. That little bit. Um, that's an old tune called "Oh" by Jingo. I think the Reverend covered it on one of his albums, "Laughing and Crying." Um, I'm playing a slightly different version than that, but because it is a Chet Atkins, and he did it twice. He did it the original version that he did on was is the way I was playing it, and then he did a version later where there's a little riff there towards the end, and it's a little bit longer. The second version is a little longer, and it's a little faster, and it changes the rhythm here changes a little bit. Kind of bounces more in the original, where the later one goes like that, up up up, straighter, instead of bouncing back and forth between the bass notes and the melody line. But it's cool. It's got this little the D9. Like 9 flat sharp 5, and then you like lift up to get the open string. Fun old ragtime song converted, transposed or whatever to guitar. Uh, there's another great. That's another one I been meaning to learn for a long time is the Maple Leaf Rag, the Scott Joplin. Um, and there is a guy that does a version of it on a classical guitar. I've seen it on YouTube. I can't remember the guy's name, but great, really, really cool. That's another thing. Some of my lessons that I've been given. Um, I noticed that a lot of people seem to struggle with just some like this stuff, the basic pull off, and getting them up to speed. And um, and somebody had asked about go more into depth about pull offs specifically, and I really don't. I mean, it's really just at what it sounds like. I mean, you're kind of pulling down and away, so you're striking, pulling off, regardless. Make believe stunt. Oh, that thing's blocking what you said. Weird. Anyway. So yeah, that's the only advice I'd have to give on pull. It's like, it's not really like lifting up. You're pulling down towards the floor on every string, right? Not just up, but kind of dragging and sliding the your fingers across the strings. Even when you're doing double stops too, same thing. Or wouldn't really do 3, but in something like that. That's just the same as that. It's just double stops. Yeah, snapping the string a little bit. You can play with your second and third fingers too. I would recommend, though, if you are doing that, to get used to using your little finger. I know a lot of people will kind of neglect that finger when they're playing scales, and um, they'll play with just these three fingers. But if you can get used to that, if you ever want to play any kind of jazz run or a fast um, line or phrase or something like that, you're gonna thank yourself for taking the time to really put in to use the pinky. Yeah, exactly. Use that little finger, because I ran into that where when I first started, I only played with these three fingers. I mean, to be fair, the stuff I was playing didn't really require any more than that. But then I wanted to play rockabilly, and I wanted to play some of these sets or runs and things like that. And I realized, oh, I have to use this hand, and then I started changing my playing, getting the wrist positioned properly, getting the thumb behind the neck properly, so it's positioned like that. Can't really see it, but yeah, like that. So you're not like this. I mean, your hand's going to move around depending on what you're playing and that sort of thing. Especially, and when you go up here, obviously, there's not really much you can do about it. But for the most part, you want to try to make sure that your thumb is parallel to your fingers like that. So you can do something like that. And or even something like that. Get more straight on the camera so you can see it. And your hand's gonna always move around. It's just it's just being conscious of it. That if you notice that you start doing this, it'll pull it back, and it's gonna feel awkward at first, but then just like anything else, once you keep doing it, eventually you'll just notice. One day you'll look at it and go, "Oh, look at that! I'm doing it right," and and, and it'll just be better off. You'll be better off in general. Um, Same with the finger picking. If you do thumb pick stuff, um, pin that pinky down on that little finger, right down on the pick guard there. Just practice the Travis style thing. And I know, and I'm still working on that myself, because I'll find myself, it'll come up a little bit, and I go, oh, got to put it back down, put it back down. And I've noticed and some songs are easier than others. I think when I play um, Mr. Sandman, it's easier for me to keep it down and down, or Cannonball Rag. There it is. That is easier for some reason. Now, when I play something like that Martha My Dear without the pick, that's different. Then I use that's more of all the fingers. I don't get copyrighted for that. Yeah, so that's a whole different way of playing. Lawrence Juber plays like that. He's was a guitar player for Wings at the very end for the last album, the Back to the Egg album. I don't know if he played on anything else before that, but um, I saw him live years ago, and it was great. Did a lot of Beatles stuff, of course, but he did some of his own things, and he's done like a swing instrumental album. I think he Tommy Emmanuel did last time I saw him. He started off with Blue Moon, but this chord melody finger picking hybrid thing, kind of like a swing, like a big bandy swing kind of feel to it. It was pretty cool. Wish I'd had that on recording. I'm sure there's some sort of thing. I'm sure there's something on YouTube. He toured with Wings. Yeah, yeah, I think he did. Yeah, because I know he's. If you look on the back of the Egg album, he's listed, and there's photos of him. But yeah, he's a great guitar player. So anyway, um, yep, it's getting about that time. So got to cut it short, unfortunately. Get the gear loaded, get down there. I'm looking at the weather. It looks like it might rain a bit, so I want to get all that stuff in the packed away and head down before it starts to pour. Um, anyway, thank thank you guys for those of you who joined the stream, and of course anybody that sees it later. Um, we'll have the new video up very soon. The podcast thing is taking a little longer. I don't really have a timeline on that right now. Um, everybody's busy. Everybody's got crazy schedules. Um, and my schedule is crazy too. So trying to find the time to get these things done been a little difficult. But as things start to wind down and we get into the fall and winter seasons, things start to clear up and I'll have more time for that sort of thing. And now that I have the new gear, I should be able to pump out content a little bit faster because it's took a little bit of a learning curve to get used to that, and how the edits work a little bit differently. But what a time saver! So definitely will help. All right. Well, I thank you guys again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. And uh, for those of you who have clicked the notification bell, you'll get the notice when the new video comes up. And depending on when I release it, I might do an extra live stream like right after the video if I've got some time, like during the week. I've just planned these live streams to be on the weekends, and I've said that, so I'm just going to keep it going for that. But I wouldn't mind doing an extra one just right after the video, just to kind of as a companion to it, and it's fun. It's always fun chatting with you guys. And thank you, Gizmodus, for joining the stream again. I really appreciate it. So until next time, have a good one, everybody.